This conference will now be recorded.
All right, I got 9 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I do want to first acknowledge Mayor Will Lewis from Havelock. He's going to give a short presentation for us about the Allies for Cherry Point. And Dot, thank you for being here. Appreciate having the public available. And so we'll get started. Excuse me. Paula's tearing me up today. Public comment. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Okay, so we'll move on. So Will, if you would, please, I got a stand up there. We can cut that mic on so we can record you right quick. Tell us about the Allies.
Right on. How y'all today? Budget workshop, man. We're jumping into ours in like 2 weeks. So I'm not envious that you've already started yours.
And that's the reason I had him come today, because as the mayor has time, their meetings are the same time as ours. So
Yeah.
I want, this is the only time really I could get him to come.
Yeah, every date that Will gave me was a Monday. I was like, dang it, our meetings are Monday at 7 o'clock as well. So thank y'all for accommodating me at the budget meeting. I appreciate it. So I'm the president of Allies for Cherry Points tomorrow, as well as the mayor of Havelock. And I just kind of want to tell y'all a little bit about what's going on at Cherry Point. I'll tell you a little bit about ACT. I don't know how much time I have, like an hour probably.
Yeah, you'll be the only one here, if that's okay.
No, Gene and Will could tell you, I could talk about Cherry Point for the next like 3 or 4 hours, and y'all would still be probably having a million questions when I was done, because it's a complicated beast. Y'all got a tour recently, didn't you?
We did.
Y'all got in over there. Okay. So Allies for Cherry Points tomorrow is a 4-county regional organization. Been in existence since really the early to mid 90s, with some of the BRACs that coincided around 1993, 95. And then, of course, the 2005 BRAC was the one that really made ACT a organization that became permanent, instead of ebbing and flowing as needed for BRAC situations. And since then, we've kind of rebuilt 3 or 4 times, and I'll talk about that at the end. But a lot of volunteers and not a lot of paid staff for a long time. For the last 10 years, ACT has been an organization that's run by an executive director. Some of y'all probably met him, Mark Finlayson. He's a contracted person for ACT. He's not a regular employee. He's got an organization called Finlayson Consulting. He does the day-to-day administrative kind of stuff. Our board is still all volunteers. The way we've built our board now is there are still 7 seats on the board represented by municipal and county. So they're all 4 counties: Jones, Pamlico, Craven, and Carteret all get a seat at the table as a voting seat. And then 3 municipalities: Havelock, of course, New Bern, and Newport. Everybody else is a member of ACT, and everybody pays dues, and they're based on a per capita sort of. So what we did was, back in the day, long before I was on ACT, they went to Craven County and were like, what would you guys pay as a portion? And they're the largest county in the 4, so they said 25,000. And then it was like, okay, there are 120,000 people in Craven County. Now we'll just make that formula and put that across everybody. So Havelock, for example, we pay about $13,000. We do in kind as well. Our staff supports ACT. We do a lot. We do about 30 to 40,000 a year, but we cut a check for 13,000. Carteret County has their amount. I think they're 15,000, if I remember right, Gene. They're about 15,000. I don't remember what Cape Carteret's is off the top of my head. I'm going to say it's probably less than 2,000.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Because it's based on per capita. So like Salter Path and Maysville over in Jones County, they literally pay us $200 to $400 a year to be a member of ACT. All the money from municipalities and counties add up to about $88,000 a year. It costs us about $130,000 a year right now to run ACT. So the rest of it we raise from, say, Carter Craven Electric, Duke Energy, individual businesses. So our board's about 18 people. 7 of those are what I just described to you. The others are all what we call sector representatives. So we try to make sure there's somebody on there from the automotive sector, because of the quantity of Marines that buy cars and trucks, insurance sector, real estate, government contracting. So, for example, Jason Joyce from here in Carteret County, he's on our board because Joyce and Associates is the either 1 or 2, depending on the year, largest one right now contractor aboard Cherry Point. And so we try to do the rest by sector. What we're doing now is we're going into what I call V3 for ACT, version 3. You guys watch the news. You know what kind of craziness is going on all over the world, and especially in DC. We haven't passed a budget in over 20 years, right? We get these omnibuses and mini buses and continuing resolutions, and it makes it really hard to plan and run a base and get force structure like we need to. So ACT is going to evolve into an organization where the president's going to be a full-time paid position, and then there'll be a secondary staff position, probably called a vice president. And then we'll go away from the contracted executive director position because someone needs to be doing it full time. We've been fortunate the last few years that I can do that as the mayor of Havelock, that I'm also doing that role for ACT, but that may not always be the case. And ACT needs to evolve in a way that they can continue to move quickly. For example, we go to DC multiple times a year. We'll actually be there next week for 3 days doing our regular trip with all of our senators, congressmen, making sure they understand Cherry Point, the value of Cherry Point. We bring their delegations here all the time. We have 2 visits in April. Congressman Davis is bringing himself, Murphy, Congressman Harrigan, and Congressman Edwards, who's your loan appropriator in the state of North Carolina. So we visit him regularly, even though he's the western part of the state. He's Morganton area, but we visit him every time we go because he's an appropriator. He's the only one on appropriations in North Carolina. So he has to understand Cherry Point. And Harrigan does not have a military base in his district, but is a West Point grad, former Army guy, and is on the House Armed Services Committee. So we've been meeting with him since the day he got sworn in, letting him understand, hey, you don't have a base? How about adopt Cherry Point? Like that's kind of what we're doing on a regular basis. We engage nationally with the Association of Defense Communities. It's a national organization that most communities that have a base are a member of. We're a member at Havelock, but we're also a member through Allies for Cherry Points Tomorrow. We sit on panels for them. We're a part of their planning committee. We're a part of their federal outreach committee. I serve on all those. So in Monterey, when they just had their national conference, we did 3 panels for them. Out of the 12 or 15 panels they had, we did 3 of them because we try to be cutting edge in the things that we're doing to protect Cherry Point. We are getting F-35s. So it makes us kind of special across the world. So everybody wants to talk to us about what we're doing to prepare for that. So we leverage that to make sure that we have a national voice to protect Cherry Point. And that's with the Pentagon and all the civilian folks in the SES that are handling all those decisions. So what are we protecting? I break it down into 2 parts. There's the economic piece, which everybody understands. There's a reason there's business sector represented on our ACT board, right? And let's just all be honest. There's a reason. It's $2.6 billion. That's what Cherry Point represents every year. It was $2.2 billion 3 years ago. I like to tell you that extra $400 million is directly resulted in the work that ACT has done over the last few years. I can't prove that, but I love to say it. It can't not be true. The work that we've done is absolutely why Cherry Point has grown. There's no doubt. Some of it would have happened anyway, but a lot of that effort is directly because of what we've done. $400 million in Eastern North Carolina across 4 counties is a massive impact, as you all know. You have plenty of military that live right here in Cape Carteret. Our CO of VMA 223, our last Harrier squadron, lives right here in Cape Carteret. You've got plenty of active duty. You got plenty of retired folks here. I know that. So you understand why it's important that we protect Cherry Point. But the $2.6 billion is easy to explain to people from an economic perspective. You don't have to say, get rid of Cherry Point. What would happen? Just reduce that by 20%. If we just dealt with what we're calling ghost bracks or shadow bracks, you lose 20% of the value of $2.6 billion. That hurts all of us. I mean, now Havelock is going to be the most affected. There's no doubt about that. Right? I say it's like pulling a tree out of the ground or a plant. All the roots are coming with it. Now, that little bit of roots that's right by the trunk, that's Havelock. We're going to take the biggest hit, but those roots spread out across 4 counties, and we know that. And really now it's 5 counties with Lenore County and Kinston with the Global Trans Park and what's going on out there with the lease for the new building. So it's really across 5 counties. So the other thing I talk about is operational capability. Y'all just toured, so you saw what's going on, a little piece of what's going on over there. We will be the master F-35 jet base in the country. We have 6 squadrons of F-35s. We have 2 active right now. The 3rd one's transitioning in the next 2 months. The last 3 will transition over the next 2 years. Harrier goes away this summer with the Harrier Sundown events the first week of June. That'll be the end of the Harrier, and we're transitioning to the F-35. We also have the VMU squadron. I don't know if y'all got over to see the MQ-9s or not, but we have the VMU T2 squadron, which is a training squadron. When they were setting up a training squadron for VMU. So until last year, if you wanted to fly an unmanned aerial vehicle in the Marine Corps, you went to the Air Force. The Air Force trained you how to do it. You came back to the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps said, that's not good enough for us. We're going to set our own training squadron up. we put a lot of work in making sure that happened at Cherry Point, and it did. So now the training squadron, every Marine that's going to fly a UAV in the Marine Corps will come to Cherry Point to train. We also are the first, what they call UAS MS1. It's a lot of letters, but it's the maintenance squadron. So now UASs that the Marine Corps flies don't just get thrown away, right? We're talking about these are very, very large. It wouldn't even fit in this room, the one they're flying now. It's like the Reaper that the Air Force flies. And they actually get worked on. They get repaired. There's pieces and parts that get taken out and put back in. So they need a maintenance squadron. We lobbied very heavily for that to end up at Cherry Point because of our training squadron, and that stands up this year. So we'll be the first one in the Marine Corps to be at Cherry Point. We're also lobbying for a second VMU squadron. We've got a couple other exciting things that we're working on. But just today, the 2nd Marine Air Wing is the most deployed air wing in the United States Marine Corps. They are in every COCOM today, right now. There's not a part of the globe that they are not in right now while we're sitting in this room. And that's with the ground forces that are part of 2nd LAD. So what we call the ground guys in the Marine Corps, and then all the air guys and the air assets that are deployed across the world. Even your Harriers right now, the last Harrier MEU is out right now in support of everything that's going on in the Gulf and in the Middle East. And they're going to be delayed in coming back as a result of all of that. So your Harrier that's been flying for 55 years, still one of the most operational aircraft in the country, located at Cherry Point. So our value to defense is irreplaceable. I mean, there's no other way to put it. What we do for defense out of the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing is not done anywhere else in the Marine Corps. The Carolina MAGTAF and our MEF just below us in Onslow County, and the way we work with them to do what we do, we're the only ones in the country that do that. So if you just want to put your patriotic hat on for a second and be like, man, how proud are we that the Marines that we're at the Lowe's Foods shopping with are actually just got back from literally protecting our country. You know, I give this speech. Some of y'all have heard it before. You know, in Havelock, it's different. I'll give you the cliff notes. But when you're pumping gas and you just look left or right, like you're looking at some heroes. Everywhere you look, American heroes in Havelock. But that extends across all 4 counties, extends across Cape Carteret and everywhere else too. And so I like to remind us that that's really our goal. But preserving $2.6 billion is a pretty strong goal too. And so making sure that we're doing what we can to grow that. There's a couple opportunities for that. And I have mentioned FRC East. So real quick, just quick stats, over 4,000 jobs at $80,000 a year average salary, right? That is twice the outside the gate average salary for Eastern North Carolina. And that's growing by hundreds of jobs every year. They're planning on almost 1,000 more jobs over the next few years with the development of the F-35, where the F-35 Vertical Lift Center of Excellence, where we're doing all the lift fan stuff for the B models. They've been working on F-35s over there since before we had them at Cherry Point. They're working on A models, B models, and C models all the time. Not to mention they're working on V-22s, the new 53 kilos, H-53s. And remember, they're a capital working fund, so they work for every branch that brings them aircraft, and then they charge that aircraft and they get paid for that, just like they're running a business. So they have to be healthy and strong. They're expanding into Global Transpark. That lease is one of a kind, to say the least. That is a partnership with the Navy and the state of North Carolina. That $320 million is the largest single appropriation in the history of North Carolina that was not a road. And our senators helped us get that through ACT so that we could build that building for C-130 work to come back to North Carolina. That was out in, I believe it was at Oklahoma. It might have been. No, it's at Hill in Utah. It was at Hill. Now it's coming back to us in Eastern North Carolina for those C-130s to be worked on here by our artisans. Some people are like, oh, it's in Lenore County. And we don't like that, right? We needed to be on the base. We don't have the space on the base right now. And building a building with Milcon takes a decade. Building a building with the state of North Carolina Global Transport, we're going to be done in less than 2 years. They're going to be moved in this September, and they'll have aircraft in that building. And the Navy's going to lease that building from the state to get their money back. So the state's putting the 320 up front, but the lease with the Navy will get them paid back over the next couple of decades. It's a huge project. We did it years incrementally to figure out how to get the Navy to accept money, because it's very difficult. But our job at ACT is to knock all those hurdles down. So when the General Assembly funded $5 million for the lift fan effort a few years ago, it was our job to figure out how the Navy could accept $5 million. It took 2.5 years to get them to say yes. If I brought you a $5 million check, you would call a special meeting and you'd accept $5 million and you'd be spending it tomorrow. The Navy said, slow down, man. We don't really know how to take this $5 million. And our attorneys and our government advocacy folks were very aggressive in helping them Senator Tom Tillis helped carry that water pretty heavy when he first got in the Senate and accepting that money. And then level two was how do we build a building and build this lease? And that's how we got to where we are with the Global Trans Park building. And I think the future is going to require creative thinking like that. And that's where ACT is really unique compared to other organizations that do what we do. You have to be unique because they don't have enough Milcom money. We know that. They can't even pass a budget, right? We're on continuing resolutions and we're on mini buses and omnibuses. And I just call them special buses, right? Because it's really what they are. And at the end of the day, if you're not coming up with ways to do it like we just did at Lenore County, then you're not going to get it done. And getting the state to put that up as a lease where they get their money back, the federal government gets to benefit and fix those C-130s. FRC gets to be healthier as a result. That's the kind of unique solutions we need. We're working on one now that would do the same thing aboard the installation, actually build the building that they need on the installation with other people's money, and then they use it. That's going to be more complicated, but we're in the process of figuring that out now and what that would look like and how we can make that work. But I think that's what ACT does the best is we're unique in that way, the way that we think about problems. We do have a government advocacy team. We spend, and it comes from all over, the money comes from all over the place, but we spend about $20,000 a month on government advocacy, $240,000 a year. And we have a firm that does that. A lot of y'all probably know Jamie Norman at Warden Smith. Warden Smith's been doing municipal attorney work all over the Eastern North Carolina forever. Jamie specializes in the military sector. He leads our team. We have two folks in DC. One gentleman, Daniel Sheehan, who's been a lobbyist up there and a reformed Capitol Hill staffer, who's now a lobbyist. He works with us and his boots on the ground every day. And then we've got a retired two-star general, Major General Randy West, who commanded right here at New River and retired out of the Marine Corps. And he works with us. He's boots on the ground in DC as well. So we actually have people in DC working every day. We go up 4 or 5 times a year, Jamie and I, to bring all the information and have the meetings, et cetera. But we have boots on the ground up there every day working. I know that's a lot. I could keep on going. But I would rather, if you want, I'm happy to field any questions that you've got specifically about any of that, or we could do more. I mean, I could talk about UAS forever because, the UAS situation has been a thing for 5 or 6 years. Havelock's been working a plan for a while on how to assist the base in that. They're doing some unique things. Havelock and ACT are assisting that. That was 2 of the panels we did in Monterey. We're doing some very unique things with UAS and protection and airspace, sort of determining what's in the airspace and what's not. And then there's lots of other stuff. I'll hit whatever y'all want. Yes, sir. Sure. I think people forget because you hear Marine Corps Station Cherry Point is in Havelock, and they're like, oh, it's in Havelock. But the footprint of Cherry Point, the reason it's 4 counties right now is because they actually have ranges in every county. So Carteret County, you have the most ranges, BT9, BT11, you have Atlantic Field. Technically, BT11 is actually Pamlico County, I should say. It's in the water. It's technically Pamlico County. BT9, Atlantic, BOC Field are all here in Carteret County. You guys have been listening to jets come in and out at BOC Field for decades. That's the only place they can do their expeditionary training on AMU matting for Harriers to actually practice landing on a small carrier ship. And they do that right here. Add in Jones County, we have Oak Grove, which is a small landing field area that really is used by the rotor wing. So a lot of helicopters, V-22s in and out over there for training, just reopened probably 8 or 9 years ago for activity. And they're using that heavily now. That's really why we're a 4-county region. A place like Cherry Point can't do what they do in Havelock, right? There's not enough real estate. The ranges of Eastern North Carolina are the hidden gem. I won't preach on it too long, but everybody that trains here says there is no other place that they can train that is that close to the Persian Gulf. Also, if you black out the landmass around our ranges, and I can send Gene this slide. I think we've got one made if y'all just want to see it. But if you black out the landmass and you just use BT9, BT11, Atlantic, Bogue, and Oak Grove, it looks a lot like a Pacific Island chain. So when you're talking about training for real world scenario, our ranges are the most capable in the Marine Corps inventory. Everything else is landlocked. We're the only littoral training range. You go down to Townsend Bombing Range in Georgia, it's a basketball court with emitters on it. That's what it is. It's a big flat basketball court with emitters on it. You go to Yuma, you got all the space in the world to train, but it's in the desert, right? And you can simulate things, but there's nothing like actually being over the water, especially if you want SWIC guys and SEAL guys, which we have at Cherry Point all the time, running their boats out to the ranges. If you want to do overhead and in the water and on the ground training, there's nowhere else in the Marine Corps to do it than right here, which is why we work so hard to protect those ranges from things like encroachment. That's a whole other thing ACT is involved in, wind encroachment, solar panel to some degree, there's encroachment, and then now foreign investment. Carteret County is the hotbed for foreign investment right now. All those properties out there like the Wooten Tract and Lucan's Land, there's tons out there that are Snug Harbor that the Chinese have been putting bids in on for years. Why would the Chinese want to be out there? I mean, I don't know. It is beautiful in eastern Carteret County. We all know that, but it's suspicious when it's right next to a range. And so we've been guarding against CFIUS, foreign investment, for a long time, and we've kind of been at the forefront of trying to figure that out. They like to buy it and put it on the blockchain. You know, if we all went together and created a corporation and went and bought 150 acres next to Atlantic Field, the Navy could come back 5 years, be like, oh, you paid 20 million. We'll give you 30 million. We can sell it to us. We'd be like, sure, we'll sell it to you. So the Navy's still got this archaic thought of, oh, we'll just buy property back. But these companies are buying it and selling it on the blockchain in the United Arab Emirates. And then you have $1 worth, he has $5 worth, you have $1,000 worth, I've got $1 million worth, whatever. And you can never get that property back. It's gone. And you don't know who's using it for what. And it's scary. Register of Deeds doesn't know how to handle it. We've been kind of at the forefront of trying to figure that out. I'm not going to say we made a lot of headway. We've done a lot of thinking about it and asking a lot of questions, trying to get the Navy to understand you need to buy these properties now in Carteret County before they get snatched up by the Chinese. We've had 2 deals fall apart recently where the Chinese were heavily involved in purchasing them. And we've been able to find a way to make them fall apart. Yeah. And so ACT is, we're the tip of the spear for all of that, for CFIUS, encroachment. That's all the boring stuff nobody wants to talk about. So I'm glad you reminded me to say it. Most people don't want to hear that, but we are in a position where it affects our lives. Like if you live in Kinston, you're probably not so worried about foreign investment in eastern North Carolina. But if you live in Carteret County, you should be very concerned about that. And I can get y'all whatever you want, briefing papers. We've got plenty on all this stuff. If you do want to, if any of y'all just got super intrigued about foreign investment and you want more information, I'm happy to do a sidebar or sit down with somebody or send you some briefing papers, whatever you like. Sure. So I-42, for the most part, is going to be good for Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point. I say it's good for Havelock. Y'all know that we're this little tiny sliver surrounded by Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point, Croatan National Forest, and water. And so we don't have a lot of developable land in Havelock. We've been kind of stagnant for a while. What does that mean? It means your Marines and sailors are living in Cape Carteret. It means they're living in Longleaf Pines and Carolina Colors and Newport and all over the place because Havelock doesn't have the inventory. So I-42 is allowing us to open up some property for development through Weyerhaeuser that was not available before. So you all know we got a housing shortage everywhere, especially in eastern North Carolina. And this is going to allow us to have some housing built around closer to the base within a 10-minute drive of the base. That'll be more suitable for them. It also is making commuting better. Probably this is the thing that only Havelock thinks about, but you spend millions of dollars to train a Marine and then they get in an accident and die 2 miles outside the base because the roads suck. Right. And so we've spent a lot of effort. If you've been through Havelock, you've seen the Slocum flyover that gets people into the back gate. You now with I-42 and the interchange, there's going to be a huge development through the middle of Havelock as a part of that called U-3431, which is a widening of Miller Boulevard, which is going to be the main connector for everybody to get from the I-42 into the base. It'll get you straight to the main gate. They saw in Goldsboro really quick. You could build a bypass, but if all your connector roads suck, people are not going to want to get off and get into your city. So overall, I-42 is going to be better. It's going to help people get to the port quicker. We do still use this port. And if you don't know one of Cherry Point's, maybe they told you this in the briefing 101 probably at the station, but we are the APOE for metric tons. I can't even remember how many metric tons. It's a crap ton of metric tons is what I say. And people, like you'll meet a lot of Marines that were ground Marines. You'll be like, ever been to Cherry Point? You know, or you just at Legion, oh no, I APOE out of Cherry Point. I've been in the APOE and I've flown out to go overseas out of Cherry Point. So we move the people and the material. If the roads are better, we're going to get that there quicker, you know, in the event that we are mobilizing. So I-42 overall is a bonus for Cherry Point. Workforce development, there's two things. We partner with FRC East. They do a lot in the community to get workforce development out, like to help people realize that there are jobs for them at Cherry Point, whether it's with Station, there's 1,000 jobs there, or over 4,000 at FRC East. A lot of those jobs are going to get paid really well with a high school diploma. It's a trade. They don't need to go to college. They can start making a really good wage with retirement benefits right out of high school. So we work with FRC a lot on that. What ACT has done most recently, one of our most fun projects is called Starbase. I don't know if y'all have ever heard about it, but DOD has a program called Starbase in Manpower and Reserve. It is a 5th grade STEM education program that is a board and installation paid for by DOD. There was not one at Cherry Point, never had been. We stood one up last year, and the one at Cherry Point is the only Marine Corps Starbase. There's 90 of them in the country. None of them are a Marine Corps installation except us. We're the only Marine Corps one. The rest are National Guard, Army, Air Force, couple Navy. There are 2 other ones in North Carolina, one in Charlotte, one in Wilmington, but they're both National Guard. They're a little different than ours. It's for 5th grade STEM education. You bring the 5th graders there, like a field trip. They get 25 hours of STEM curriculum over 5 days, 5-hour sessions. It's all hands-on. It's crazy cool stuff. To do it, they have to come to a nonprofit, and a nonprofit has to run that contract. So they asked us to do that. So ACT took over that contract in September. So we get the money from the federal government, and then we fund the Starbase. It's about $1 million a year that we have to fund. It's $800 and something thousand this year. The first classes start on February 17th. So we're at the end of our first 5-week group of classes. It was Craven County first because they were the closest logistically. We're doing Jones and Pamlico because we're supposed to be Title I. The DOD manpower program says Title I first. And we've already met with Carteret County to start next year. So some Carteret County elementary schools will be coming soon. So the goal is to get them in on the base at the school in 5th grade, understanding that if they have an interest in STEM, that there is a workforce development pattern for them to get through middle school. We have camps in Havelock through ACT and through the community college and NC State because they have a campus in Havelock. We take kids from 5th grade and we can get them through STEM summer camps all the way through the end of their senior year. And so that's what we're doing for workforce development. We also fund a scholarship. Carteret County gets a portion of that, Craven County and Pamlico. We did $20,000 our first year because we're 501c3. So we have to have a real giving mission. And ours has been a scholarship for transitioning military. We don't double up, so we don't give them money for things that are already GI eligible, but we split 20,000 amongst those 3 colleges, and it's for anything that's not GI Bill eligible. So a lot of workforce stuff. We pay for things like toolboxes for the Aeronautical Institute for those Marines that need $1,000 toolbox to transition, or we pay for exams. We pay for scholarships for, say, over-the-road truckers, truck driving certifications, things like that the GI Bill doesn't pick up. That's what we do for workforce development. Anything else?
I'd just like to bring up that not only the update to the government facility, but the outside facilities, the adaptive manufacturing, the machine shops, you name it, is Kinston, for instance, any place that's got a warehouse, storage of support equipment, tools, it's just going to blow this area up huge. So thank you for all the effort that you guys have put into this, because this area is going to benefit from it huge.
That's a great point. So one little caveat of the V3, I call it, transition of ACT, is we also have noticed that our regular economic developers do not understand the defense industry. They don't see a warehouse and think, oh, we could put a logistics company in there. And so ACT has been stepping up over the last 6 months and trying to bridge that gap. So we've been meeting with a lot of those economic developers and talking about how we can help get them in the right places. The number of small business startups in the defense industry in Carteret and Craven County is way more than any of us than I would have believed 6 months ago. We're talking about war fighters that get out and know there's a solution that they can provide. They've got 20 employees. They're right at that edge of how do I get bigger? Where do I go? Where do I locate? Where are my incentives? And nobody is helping them get over that bridge. And where should they be? They should be right here because they've got Lejeune right there and they've got Cherry Point right here, not to mention all the other bases in North Carolina. And so we are going to take a larger role in that. We have been and will continue to take a larger role in connecting all those dots for the defense industry.
Awesome, man.
Yes, sir. Anything else I can help you with? No? All right.
Thank you so much, Will. I know
Absolutely.
you're a busy man.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna roll on and leave y'all to your budget stuff. I got one more week for that.
Thank you.
Anytime. If you need anything else, let me know. If you
All
want
right.
to follow up paper, just holler at me.
Yeah, I might get a presentation from you on paper.
Will do.
There's a lot of acronyms.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks again, Will.
Yes, sir.
I just thought it'd be great for y'all to hear it from the horse's mouth there. But it was a great presentation. They affect our town so much. It's unreal. You can't walk on that base and sling a cat without hitting somebody from our town that's working there or representing. So we'll move on. I know Commissioner Martin may have to leave early, so if he slides out, having these things during the morning sometimes can interfere with our business. But we'll try to move on and make it as quick as possible. So Gene, I'm turning it over to you, sir.
All right, we'll move through this quickly, through our revenue expenditures. It's very similar to what you saw, and heard in my office individually, but we've got some updated stuff, not major updates in this, but you can run over that quickly, and then we'll move into, the, priorities for the first session.
No.
Yes, all yours.
Budgeted revenues for 26 and 27, $2,409. And our expenditures are $2,409, which is a balanced budget. No fund balance was used to budget this budget. Now, unless the wheels fall off the next three months, but everything's trending up. Our property tax this year is up 54,000, or 6% over budget, which is good. We're at $1,017,000 right now, and we got one more check coming in. It should put us about $1,040,000, $1,045,000. Like I said, numbers are the same. The only thing I'm waiting on, that health insurance, like we talked about, could go up a little bit. That could change the budget. Sales tax tracking up 3 to 4%. The ABC revenue, like we talked about, it could be higher next year. Hopefully at least the same. And
So let me
go ahead.
right there. So the ABC revenue should be higher next year. So the last 3 years, they ABC withheld some of that revenue and put it in their capital project fund. Right? So for some of the improvements that they were making throughout the county, so this should be the last year of that. So the ABC revenue should trend up.
Yeah. And to note, our fund balance as a percentage of 26, 27 budget would be 77%, which our goal is 50% at least. And that's with the $273,000 for the slips. That's not even entered in. I've taken that out of our cash balance. So
And what was it prior? We're at 77 now.
we're at 77 now.
And what were we prior?
I think last year was 83%
83.
at the end of the
So we
budget.
went,
Yeah,
went down to 77.
yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, our goal is 50%, so we're very comfortable with that number. That's all I have. Like I said, nothing really changed since we met individually.
I think the big note out of that is what you have in front of you is this is pretty much a balanced budget. You have a balanced budget that, there's very few things, in front of you, that increase. Of course, the health insurance costs increased, there's, a 2.5%, cost of living for the employees built in that. It's pretty much a flat budget, right? So this is balanced, which is a huge statement at this point. You know, we can show you that and feel really strongly about the benefits and feel like this is balanced, which this really keys into the next really three parts of this budget meeting, right? So what you have is absolutely flat budget, doing nothing, running the town, and we have the revenues to do that at this point. So that's the big mess. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question is, how long is that guaranteed, like?
So it's very static, yes, sir. The only thing that changes power bill money, and really has changed power bill money, is if we had more length of streets. So it is commensurate with those lengths.
Okay.
So every 5 years, we've got to certify a power bill map, which we just had to do this past year, right? Which is a great deal. And having the surveyor actually certify that this is the length of streets in the town, and that's what that is based on.
Okay.
Is how much money we get. So we're going very static with $100,000 a year for power bill, for the foreseeable future, unless we adopt more streets.
Okay. Thanks.
Absolutely. Y'all have any questions on this out of the gate? I think the questions will come later as we kind of dig into this a little bit more. And moving through it quickly, so y'all stop me wherever.
Hold, please. So civil fines, citations, we have, 1,500 and then 3,500. What are those?
So that's typically, anything we find somebody that's on a violation of a ticket that they may issue. Most of what they issue is state citations, so we don't see that, but it would be, that's just a generalization of what we see annually.
Okay, so that's just
It's
kind of,
right. You park at the park, without a sticker.
so it's average. These are average.
Yeah, it's just kind of
of
what
what-
we've seen everywhere, the trends.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? Like I said, this is pretty boring. This is pretty just kind of flat. But we do feel confident with these revenue projections that's what our expenses, that's what we've seen the last several years. We'll tell you this, so, as y'all know, the salaries have been about 50,000 the last several years. This does one. So it's what that cost us under,
Fully staffed.
yes, sir.
Okay. And then the boat ramp, that 125, is that? What is all that made of? 125,000?
So that's
That's the sticker, so.
Okay. So that's the 125, that's the average that we did last year, but with this year's numbers?
right, that's what we think.
Okay,
So-
that's-
So this year, just for everybody. So far, we're at $73,300 yesterday, as of yesterday.
Oh, right on.
So
How many-
Since I met with y'all, a month ago, see, again, that increase in passes.
How many passes have we sold to residents?
146 first passes, 42nd passes, and I'll just give you the rest of the numbers since I got them here in front of me. 37 nearby passes, 36 here, and then 7 outside of that area passes. So we're definitely seeing that, and I think we will again. Typically, I would say that those things track on weather. You're gonna get a bunch of people come out price since they don't sell, and then as the weather comes, we'll see more and more.
That's great. That's really
Yeah,
good.
So that's pretty strong that we're at 73.3.
Okay. And so that 125 is looking really,
Yes, sir.
Really
Very
solid,
good.
right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
heck yeah.
Jeff and I are very realistic, both of us, and what revenues would be.
Okay.
And it's kind of, it's a good checks and balances. No, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's, so there's good conversation.
Yeah. So I'm
We
just,
got a good conference.
okay. Right on.
Any other questions on that? So I'm gonna move into the first budget session priorities. So I sent this out to y'all without the action items. The action items are very loose. So, this is the opportunity to add to, take away, whatever we want to do with it. It's kind of going to set our priorities for next year. So if you think I've misstated, I sent these out to you right after the first budget session. Or if there's anything you want to add, now's kind of the time to do that stuff, right? So we want to make sure that we've got a good picture from y'all. Of course, you represent the citizens, so feedback that you're giving us the direction we need to go, right, in the coming year. The first one was the wellness program for the employees. It looks like it's going to be roughly $600 per employee, about $800 a year. If that was something that you wanted to fund. Multi-use pack initiative, so that was one that, in fact, it was really the two things that and I think if I've got this correct in my mind, it's really about connectivity, right? So it's hitting those things. I think the big thing is identifying where we want that connectivity. And I can think of a couple of places I think everybody could right out of the gate where we want that connectivity. The big thing that I want to work on this coming year is not just funding. Right? So that's the thing. We're going to look for opportunities where we can find them. But the bigger thing is that we lead something and not hold on to an area report. I don't know if we need that. I don't think we incur the expense of that, but at least some numbers on what the products are. Right? So you know that this costs this much. That's going to help us. It's hard to fund something and get there and say how much that things this, right? So really bear down on that. I think that needs to be a bigger issue this year. Not only identifying those things, but putting it up. And I'll just give you an example. If we've got a number, we've got one of the things that we sent out this recently to Congress from Tom Davis. Y'all done a really good job with here together. This is how much it costs. All right. So I'm smart enough to figure out what cost escalation is on construction. So I can take that and escalate that cost in 30 minutes. I can say the cost is that. Right. So that's where we need to be with a lot of our priorities. And we've all talked about capital improvement. Right? But that's really the big thing. We're trying to find what's the cost to do this. Here it comes up and says, hey, I've got $1 million. I got a big project right here. It's this. You put this pieces. So that's kind of the approach to that. This is a good conversation specifically because it was mentioned, and also crosswalks throughout the town. It's going to be a DOT thing. I do think the crosswalks, especially actually I think they need to be civilized. I think they need to be pretty separated. They need to be pedestrian. So we all try to navigate this. The other thing is that pedestrian hours, civilization does is the contract. Not, we don't need to leave the village towards all that make.
What's DOT do without surveying?
So DOT, they're looking at a future design down here on this end. And of course, on that end, of the part of of course, that roundabout is going to be a reality. Talking the other day, I know that wasn't. I actually asked that question the next day. On the call about something else, complaining about something else, and asked that specific question. He's like, no, it's not the reality. Maybe starting a little construction in 3 months today. It's not. You were on the money. I got told the other day, you're still right. I said, well, not right. Call me something not right anymore. That's really good. Yes, sir. But back to the crosswalk, I think that's and I think we need to like really everybody stay on the same page. Not leave it up to everybody else. Everybody good with that? Makes sense? Okay. Zip code, so we're still working on zip code. Zip code, I think, is probably one of the most important things that we've got to notice. All these things are low cost things. Not things that cost us a lot of capital to do. So it costs us a lot of capital to staff time. Those things cost, but those are not those costs. There's cost for it. So there's not additional cost. zip code thing's probably one of the most important things we have going on. You know, everybody's got to vote, so we don't vote to speak, right? Right, so my mantra with this is what we want to look at. Every week, we're making a push on that. So I think that's good. I fully got all the other support from Congressman Murphy. I think that was a very good step. There's been some more we need to try to, and then since then, and they, you don't keep pushing that. They're making a time for having helpful. We've got these things, I'll let you know. But right now, things are looking very favorable. Keep that. That's the big, I agree to you, right here. Yeah, directly affecting sales tax.
That's right.
Revenue for towns are running the lights on. We're getting everything. Any questions on that particular one? Parks and Recreation, I know I'm moving through this quickly, right?
Oh, I do have,
Y'all stop me.
so with the zip code, what's the time frame on that to see actions going forward?
We don't have a foggy test.
Don't have a clue, man.
That's what I figured. Okay.
We don't have a foggy test. I've been told it's going to be amazingly slow. Yeah, it's supposed to. I mean, it's going to be amazingly slow. I will keep you in the loop. If I have more information, I'll tell you, but we're that.
Can you, any meetings that come up, can you just forward those on?
Yes, I'll keep
If
you on
anybody
the loop.
can show up to them, if there any open meetings, right?
So I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, okay.
Right now, it's above our level,
Got it.
and
It is.
Okay.
But what I will do is keep you, and if I think, y'all spend capital on this, I'll certainly let you.
Yeah.
Very quickly. The next one's Parks and Recreation, so we talked about this a lot, so, probably proud of Sarah Jane Foundation, yes. It's right there in front of our job, and that's gonna be another slow process. And they're dedicated to that, and all of that. But that's good news. We created town activity next week, but that's very, very good. That's one thing that we did work on, since then is we submitted to the park record started, which is not really a park, it's basically started, like picnic shelter, thing. I submitted a grant. Small playground there, development on it with that, we do have to find, we have to put that forward. We've got several grant requests out there. We'll keep being ambitious with that. And as we get these going, this is why this exercise is so important, is we kind of realize not in their head, not happening. That when we get that is we can chase money. There's no magic in chasing money. I understand what everybody's going to say is. Don't want to do it. Run, maybe chase running, and then we get running, and then we don't make sure that these are all things. It's not, we generally want to do. So that's going on right now. That request is out there. The last thing I got on here is the adoption program. Which we dropped it on last year. That we're very, very thankful for that. Everything else is out and about now. That was the one that Ryan wanted his budget last year. He didn't get funded. Ryan said, hey, it's another thing budget. Funded, we can buy funding, right? So we just got to know where to go with this. What we didn't get were benches. I know that the benches were on the trailer. Trailer. That's something that's just set to me. These things are important. Plus, we'll get started on the documentation program. I know that we did, but it wasn't formal. So what I want to do is put something together that's in about formal. I mean, on one page on. Kind of got the outline. We don't want mix match benches out there. We want kind of standard bench. We want this. We want this. And I think once that I can do that and bring it back to you. It's not a big deal, right? But I think that's worthwhile. I think that gives some benches, and I think people are always happy to do that.
Heck, yeah. I think the activities committee could help with this as well, pushing it forward when we go out and talk to people about funding.
The activities committee got an outlet for that. That is an activity, like it is, it's spending
the big effort is not to cost the town any money with these activities. So that's fundraising is
There you
going to
go.
be huge for us. So just so everybody knows, that's the last thing I want to do is cost the town money. So we're going to be really fighting to raise the funds out in the community.
There's been some good conversation on that already.
We got some good folks on the board. We really do. So this is going to be good.
All those things, street lights. And street lights are like stop signs. Some people want it, some people not. That's kind of the democracy, stop signs came up again last night. About how we need less. Average. Go 6 of us did it here 2 weeks ago. You were in a meeting last night with me. 6 of us say, we want more stop signs. We want less stop signs. Street lights are kind of in that same thing. Here's how I would suggest approaching that. So John called, I did a good job. I had John first, right? So we know that there's kind of a big, then you need to understand about street lights.
Right.
They cost you for everything. You're going to be paid. So this flat budget you have right here, again, very strong. We've got a flat balance budget at this point. Nothing else, right? So we at least know what our baseline is. I think I was right? So that goes into consideration. So we need to be really careful about how we do it. I'm not saying we shouldn't, by any stretch of imagination. Obviously, our decisions. One of the things that we could do, and one of the ways we could go about this is, I know there's areas that Brian's looked at, I've looked at, all three of us kind of get together and come up with what we think is a good idea, for these things. Not individual good idea, but collective professional good idea, administration, police department, public works. That's probably the way to do that. We want to look at it and then see how we want to fund that, or if we want to fund that in the future. I think giving you options is important. I think making sure y'all understand what those options cost you is very, and that's what we strive to do with all of this. Right?
So with that, I think that's the only option. Really, you guys are the ones running the streets. You guys know where the dark areas are. You know where the areas were like, gosh, why do we have 4 lights here? The one thing I want to bring up is can we, and Brian, you might know this already, can we reutilize what we currently have if we have an overlit area? Say, and then move these.
I can answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a neat question.
Okay. Sorry.
No, so you're okay. And I've got a lot of but you're gonna have very. But there is an occasion that is, but it's, and.
We need a street.
Oh, we've done it, right. We've done it.
That's
So
good.
you can't do that. That's one of the things we look at when we go out.
Yeah, okay.
We applied some common sense to the situation recently, where if we have a stop sign, this person wanted more light, this person wanted less light. The way to do this practically is go down the street, see how your spacing is, and make a practical common sense decision so that you're not serving this person or that certain person specifically, you're serving the public. That's how we look at that, because I can tell you, if they get into, I want this person, not that person, we go upside down really, really quick. But I think that's the way, and I think that would be our approach. See how that light.
And there's actually a whole science to lighting.
Right,
There's
yeah.
a
There
whole
really is,
science.
yeah, that's what.
Well,
Yeah.
and to jump on what
Yeah.
Bill Lewis was saying, dark sky stuff, we've got a little background here. This is
Mhm.
not-
Okay.
This is not foreign to us.
So do we know what the average, what's the average cost of a light?
$63 to put it in, and $865 a month, for every light fixture.
$8.65.
$8.65.
And then how much is a ramp lift's going to cost us? Do we know that? Because the electric to those, is that going to be roughly the same? Sorry. So we're running the electric to the lifts.
Right.
And that's going to be a perpetual cost as well, right? Is that roughly, we're looking at roughly about the same? That's just what I was, yeah, okay.
Any other questions on that? I know I'm moving quickly.
Hmm.
I respect
Good.
everybody's time. So,
I took off work all day.
no, you're
So
good.
I'm in it, bud. I'm like, I took off all day.
I will hang out.
Yeah, it's a priority to me. Sure.
Please no.
So commercial line development, you know, we had, you know, versus hardcore lines, you know, there are cost savings there, and things. The Utah officer was pretty much so, Ryan talked about. Not a huge deal, unfortunately, maybe, you know. I think we just, I think the concept is good, pushing that concept. And, you know, this opportunity is not successful, we'll turn around. And I think that's the way. Any questions on these things, or did I miss anything from that last meeting or anything else? And a committee from Road Commission, Green City USA, I didn't have that. But give you an update, I'm about halfway through the application.
There's not a lot of cost associated.
There's not a lot of
No.
cost to do with that, and that's why I didn't. Those were the things that I heard from the first one. Did I kind of get everything?
So,
Yeah,
I'll move from that.
thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as you see, I like to do this stuff. I want you to be able to take, you have to stick with that, about it. You back make this grant, y'all want it. As much time making it grants you want, but I think just plain and straightforward is the way to do this. I think it's easy to clean up. One of the things that we didn't have in the capital plan, that I think we pushed forward and looking at how we go forward this section. That this is our first stab at this. Again, talking to the mayor the other day, I can maybe do a vision of a capital. Function. So everybody can understand it, everybody can kind of understand where we're going. I was there. So I think this is an exception to this document. So a capital improvement plan is a living document. There is something that, you know, y'all next year, when we do this again, we should be looking at this again. We should be updating this again annually. So it's not set forth in stone. It's not a hate shelf plan. We've been doing this a long time. And I will tell you, it is a waste of your time if you adopt a plan that goes on the shelf. Again, again, this is not meant to be that. That's why it's come back straightforward. It's just a fact. Man. It's just a fact. So that's what we're shooting for on this. I'll run through it with you really quickly. And if you flip to, actually, I should have put page numbers on this. Maybe that's my downfall. That's the idea. So I put page numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, page 6. So, if you look at this, this is really the verbiage of what that all these charges say, right? So all of that across the years. So when you think about this, what I want you to think about, and it's definitely simple, is these things just move across the years, right? So say that this is in year 3, and we have an opportunity to fund it some way in year 2. It gets funded in year 2, and we take it off of this and add it to this. It's always big, right? So this is a big target. And again, that's the reason for simplicity. But if you look at, I started it in 27, 28. So this can move to 27, it can slide this way, it can slide this way. This is your discretion, right? So this is what we're getting. Right? So we've got next year to talk about that, right? This last thing. This is years before after that. So these are the same stormwater improvements by priority. I had a comment from somebody, I don't remember who it was, about it's not being prioritized, but that wasn't the reason for that. Right? The reason for this is where we're kind of framing it up as priority. So these are the priorities, if you see by stormwater, you see the capital needs. So this is the collaboration between me, Ryan, Brian, and Jeff. These are things, I didn't come up with this, I'm not the manager who comes up with it. tells everybody what to do, right? I'm not gonna do that. So we all work together on this and putting it together. And you'll see the public works, that's your 27, 28 right there. That's what we feel like we need. 28, 29, that's what we feel like we need. 29, 30, and you'll see these lists, like, so it gets smaller and smaller, like as we go on years, right? So those things are gonna be things that next year, our priorities will change, our situation will change. I'm not funding for zero term.
You can still chase other people's money for all of this, right?
It just gives us a guideline, so that's something, this has been a challenge for me first year with y'all, is there wasn't this. So I'm talking to everybody, I'm kind of getting, we want to go this way, right? All right, well, that's good, like, how do we go that way? This gives us, the staff, not just me, but us as staff, where we're going.
Yeah, it's
So
scary to
we
think
gotta
that
get
it wasn't.
This is kind of everybody's pulling the wagon that way, not that way, right? So that's the whole impetus. So you'll see these 29, 30, these 30, 31s, we start to see this stuff populate as we get into next year, right? So you'll see this thing push out, you see this thing in, this is a living document. The next page of real significance is when you get to the department request, it's the third last page. So you see those capital needs there. So these are all things that we talk about. So none of this is new information, right? So 27, 28, one vehicle per year with a full-time vehicle. Our shotguns need to be replaced that year, but they just, I mean, they're past their life. Again, this isn't something that Brian says he needs. This is something that Brian says he needs. Gene went and looked at, verified Brian probably needs this stuff, right? So he didn't make this up. But you look down through the years, this is what we bring up. That's the big thing that with your staff.
You've integrated your vehicle equipment replacement into this.
To this, right?
To this.
So, and I want to talk about vehicles for a minute. I think it bears discussion, right? So I think that's, one of our biggest expenses. I know there's been budget requests the last several years to start replacing vehicles. Brian and I've taken a really critical. And I think if y'all decide that you want to start at 27, 28, we can do that, right? So we're not going to be without. The fact of the matter is, if these cars die, we'll come back to y'all with a budget. My big, that we cannot do. So that's the risk we're taking. So, when these vehicles just quits altogether.
That's your option.
Right, we'll come back and say, hey,
I got it.
yeah.
I'll thank you, everybody.
Thanks, John.
Have a good one, John. John, your desk, go ahead.
Oh, my God.
I'll come back.
Yeah, don't be caught without it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna come back to y'all and say, hey, we've got to.
Can I stop you? Are we making any decisions today?
So you're generally giving me yes, but not 100%. Okay.
Okay.
So you're giving me, and I want you to.
Well, I'm concerned because we have two commissioners now not here.
You're not
Making
voting on
decisions.
anything today. You're
We're
not
not
making any, no,
Yeah.
no, you're not doing
Okay.
anything. No action will be made today, sir.
That's what I'm.
That's what you
okay.
mean.
So that's correct.
Okay, sorry, Brett. I just
You're giving me a pretty strong direction, and that's kind of my last.
Understood.
My last bullet point of adjourn. I'll talk about that. So if we're able to go into 27, 28, start buying pickup, right? Good thing is you've actually gotten to where you're. Thus far, I can tell you, we've not done. It's not done, right? So we bought our own lease. So we can't lease vehicles in enterprise because we're not big enough. We don't have enough vehicles to do that. So you have to have, what, 15 vehicles? Is that correct?
Yes.
15 vehicles, yeah, we don't have 15 vehicles. But if we're buying trucks, Brian, your police chief is telling you need trucks. I agree. Pickup trucks to do this. You can take these things and you can rotate them in public works. So that, this is very common fleet management in every organization, right? So they take this truck and they reuse it or a vehicle and they use it here, right? So when you get done with it, you've got all of the taxpayers to do that. And we're good like that by the time you start. I would not buy a surplus vehicle.
I know how I used to drive.
Right, I don't want to like.
Brian?
But the good thing, and I say that, the good thing is you use taxpayer dollar into the place, you use it all, right? It's done. So that's what we're striving. So, but if we get on some type of rotation, whatever that is, right? So we're on a rotation, so we're trying to knock out 4 at a time, you got 4 vehicles. So there's life cycle, so it's not what we make. This is what we make. Y'all have any questions on this?
How difficult, or in the future, how difficult to translate this into a comprehensive plan, which is the overarching?
So I think this is a big piece of that, right? So I think it's a big.
You want to refine this or make this work better before we do that?
So I think we at least want consensus on it, right? But I think we at least want consensus. But I think you can take that out of this. I think it's a big.
Which is more just talking, not figures. The figures are in here.
Right.
Y'all look like you had a question.
I do. So I've been punching, gosh, I have went over this. Sorry, Courtney, I've been talking to bunch.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Go.
I have looked over these numbers and looked over these numbers and, I mean, I've got a pretty solid plan, but I think it's the comprehensive, but it would go under the comprehensive plan, right? About putting it into the police budget on, all right, you need to save. So right now I've got, if we save $12,000 a year out of your budget, it's roughly, I think almost 2% of your budget would go to replacing the vehicle, right? So that's $12,000 a year. So essentially this year or next year, right? We go ahead and we get the $60,000. Is that roughly 65 fully equipped? Okay, I did the numbers at 60, right? So bear with me on my 60,000.
Yeah, you can, I mean, if you want to set up a capital reserve fund where throw money in the kitty every year.
That's
And it has to be used just for that.
Just for that specific.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that, and I think that would play into your budget, right? Like, okay, 2% of your budget every year off rip is going right here to replace these vehicles because we know there's a service life on these, right? I'm worried that we haven't already had that. I mean, I know you're doing it now,
You think you're worried, like,
but-
this is very real, right?
but this is the way we should go forward. I don't really see another way, unless you know of another way. This is the only way in my brain that it makes sense to the taxpayer that, look, we have a plan, we're executing money properly. This is how we're doing it. You know, you'll see these new vehicles. Yeah, if you're wondering, man, why do they get a new vehicle? I can't even get a new vehicle, right? I mean, hey, it's real. So we're taking a percentage of the budget that's going straight to that, right? And I think we can kind of use this throughout, right? We know there's a service life on weapons. We know there's a service life on this and that. You know, I think that might be the way we move forward with your budget to help you budget that way better. Y'all budget as far as that goes. And then, you know, then you have your expenditures throughout that. Like, hey, we got, you know, need new vests, radios, things like this, right? I do have all the numbers. I'm not going to bore you guys with my numbers that I created because they're not exactly right. But I worked it out that we could kind of afford to buy a vehicle without even with a minimum dip into the fund balance, and then start the comprehensive plan to 2% of the budget, like within this next year.
So that would not be a comprehensive plan, like issues. A comprehensive plan can be
Okay.
1,000 foot, right? So yeah, I like what you're saying.
Okay.
So, and y'all all heard me say this, like, I'll figure it out. Like, it is my mantra, like, I'll figure it out. Whatever it is, I'll figure it out. I would tell you this, there's gonna be an exceptional challenge in this when you look at this on,
Mhm.
when you look at this from 30,000 feet, yeah, shake your head. Either way, like if you don't agree with it or do agree with it, this is a, our team's budget.
And I've got
That's
a,
great.
I got an
So
idea and
we'll
plan
figure-
for that.
We'll figure it out.
I do.
We'll figure it out at the end of the day. This is gonna be an exceptional challenge to do that. I'm not saying it can't be done.
Understand.
Anything can be done.
Yeah.
Right? We just gotta figure it out.
Mhm.
So that would be my answer on that. This is very, so.
Well, this is great. I mean,
Yeah,
I
this
feel
is
like
what-
this is how town should operate.
This
We
is how
should
town
be
should
operating
operate.
just like this.
This
We
is
should
how
not
town
be.
should operate, and we should be funding the police already at 100% value, and all these things should be at 100. There's no magic to this, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want you to be able to sit there and take this to anybody. Right.
But if the revenues come in stronger than anticipated, we can,
When we get this zip code thing done, this might not even be an issue.
I
Yeah.
understand.
This might be really easy.
I'm worst case scenario person, so I'm prepared for the worst, hope for the best, right? So that's where, and I thought that's what we're doing today. So I was hammering down on this for a while, mulling it over, like everything was on the dock. I looked at everything. I looked at sorry,
No, you
You're
can.
good.
I got
Go,
everything
go.
on my
You're
phone.
spot on.
Every town needs one of you.
So with the boat ramp, there's a huge opportunity there. I think we're already seeing the opportunity with the 125. We have an even more enhanced opportunity there. I've talked to you about this beforehand with essentially like a public-private partnership, if you will, or sponsorship with those boat lifts and allowing or reaching out to get to lease 2 of those boat slips to local businesses, right? So we can add revenue there. I think that would be great. We'd allow them a sign to go underneath our sign at the boat ramp, right? Hey, this is sponsored by blah blah blah, sponsored, and then they get a sign on their post next by their slip, and we would get them a parking spot for a fee. I'm thinking that fee would be around $30K. I think that per slip. So you're getting a slip advertisement with a sign with certain size, right? Nothing and nothing vulgar. Obviously, we could work all that out, and a parking spot, right? So that right there is your new vehicle. Boom.
We got permission.
No tax raise, nothing. Then we get into the 2% into your. So
Cherry Point flying.
I mean,
I knew Will was here.
that's a zero tax increase to the taxpayer. Executing on this budget, taking this budget, we're still executing on this budget, and now we're able to get those needs, because that's a need, right? Safety is the number one. If our officers can't respond to the calls in a vehicle safe to get them there and back, I mean, then that's we have to do better. So this is us doing better at what our tax rate is now and going forward. There's no need to even think about it next year, the following year, like we can execute.
Generally, how y'all wear something y'all want to pursue.
I would want to look into it first.
What about the contract that we
I was
signed?
going to say, we got some legalities to look at first.
We may have to make.
I like the
a motion
idea.
To take
Yeah.
public out of that, or add it back in. We made a motion.
I can ask Brett about that.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Yeah, so I think it's worth looking into. Just
Yeah,
get all the
so
facts.
I can explore that. That's where I'm trying to get to today. So, and I should have I should have worked backwards in hindsight. I should have put bullet point 8, like bullet point 2. So the real thing I'm trying to accomplish today is things just like that. It's something that we want, not something that I'm gonna bring y'all back to the budget in May. I'm gonna ask you to adopt, right? So go ahead and let's get it on, let's move on with it. So that's where we want to be at the end of the day. So this is that direction for staff. Your number 8, that these things y'all, this kind of direction y'all want to stay.
We need some trucks.
I just have some very detailed questions, nickel and dime type stuff. So, looking at your sheet here, right? What is contractual services? What does that mean?
Our internet, and our outside, IT vendor is, and, let's see,
45,000, do better.
that's VC3. That's,
So we're
that does
under-
our internet.
We're under a contract.
Yeah.
This is a bone of contention. We're 3 years into a 5-year contract.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think it provides best service. I'm not happy with what we're getting.
What are we
right
talking
now.
about? What is it?
This is our internet.
Our security firewalls, they do our outside IT. Yeah.
45 grand? I'll do it for you for half that. I don't even know anything
Well,
about it. $45,000.
I didn't negotiate this contract. I don't like this contract, but it's the contract I settled.
so does that come with assurances with that company?
Good as any company's
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
gonna get.
still gonna have,
So I was just wondering if we get hacked and then we're held ransom,
was Atlantic
whatever,
Beach,
you know, how it's
like $500,000 got frauded out of it.
same exact service. I'm tracking.
Yes. Not to say too much.
Yes,
So
sir.
there's nothing we can do to get out of
We're
it?
under contract with this.
Yeah, we also pay $6,000 a year to a company called Civic Plus Domain. They run our website.
Okay.
It's a Heather thing.
That's a Heather
Yeah,
thing.
they're the ones that-
So it costs $6,000 a year to.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long is that contract good for? Just Heather?
5-year contract.
5 years?
And we're 3 years into it. Okay.
Okay, so postage and printing and admin supplies and collection fees, or what's a collection fee? What is that?
The county charges us 2%. The county collects all our tax money. And they send it to us, but they charge us.
They charge you more money to collect your money.
But it's worth it.
It's
Two,
It's
yeah,
worth
it's worth it.
We can't fund a tax collector.
Yeah.
It's like a 99% collection rate. You can't get that.
Yeah.
So that's a good deal for us.
Is it a good thing? Okay, we're just talking nickels and dimes, right? But nickels and dimes add up. Is it a good thing to have postage and printing and all these miscellaneous little things spread out across the town, or is it better to consolidate it up at the admin?
Well, you know, any department that puts out expenses, we allocate it to that department. I mean, there's no real, because all the money's still,
Let me answer the question
Yeah.
directly. It's very good to have a department, because if somebody's spending too much money on this, I want to know that they're 101%.
Yeah.
Budget, over their budget on this, and this is just how we administratively track this.
Okay.
And so just, this might add some light to this, monthly Jeff was providing, this is something we've started doing. So, now I'm gonna give you actually, I'm not even gonna tell this one, but let me just answer your question. To answer your question, monthly, all of the department heads, Jeff provides us a sheet. That sheet has, this is what you requested, this is what you spent, this is the percentage of that. I can tell you, unless I'm suspicious of something somebody overspending, I'm going right down that percentage. I know it's the 6th month of the year, and we're less than 50%. I'm probably not slowing down as I go down that line. If it's the 6th month of the year and we're at 70%, I need to figure out why, right? So I called Brian and said, Brian, why did you do this? Now, 9 times out of 10, Brian says, I had this expense come in, it's a one-time expense, and like, you know, we're so okay, well, you know you've only got 30% of that budget left. You need to be careful with that. One of the things that the department heads were not privy to, guys, I mean, we both all had this conversation, is their monthly spreadsheet of where they are in the world, right? So I don't know how you administer a budget if you don't know where you are in the world. Now they know where they are in the world, and their professional department is not expecting them to manage that money. Now, I'm looking at it multiple times a month to make sure they are managing that. That's my job, to make sure they're doing their job, right? So to answer your question, I like this thing spread out over the departments because it gives me indicators of how we're tracking. It would be less complex. Yes, but
It would be, right? So by the end of the year, we have 2,500 here, we got 1,650 over here. We're recouping that, right? And then we're putting that back into
General fund. It all
Gen-
comes
yeah.
back. It all comes
All
back.
right,
Everything's in general fund.
Right.
all right. Okay,
It's really just a mechanism to try and.
all right. Well, your first line's wrong. Okay, so there's not that much for elected officials because 2 commissioners aren't taking it. So where's that money going?
Right. So it's just stays.
Okay, well, can we do
Yeah.
something else with that? I mean, in other words, I'm
Yeah.
saying that we got to buy this vehicle over here, right? And then we got $3,000 here we're not using, $2,000 there we're not using, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we can loop. This
Because
is
every penny counts, right?
Yeah,
Doesn't really mean much, but it counts.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it goes towards the wellness, you know, like that's,
Right. It goes towards.
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
so where to from here?
All right.
So, well, it's a matter of, here again, taking all the information he's got, and if you're happy with what we're presented and you want to just continue as he said, then we pretty much adopt it. We can do that in May, which I think is good. You don't want to be too early because we may have some other numbers come in. Now, we don't have another budget meeting lined up, I think, till May. So it's just a matter of if y'all want to marinate on what we got, facts, if you got anything you want to add. Jeff gets some new numbers in or whatever, we can have another meeting. We can decide on it for April.
When do you expect the new numbers? When do you expect the new numbers in?
We'll have another round coming in April. Yeah, we will really know by April. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we could do is just, have our meeting,
When's our deadline?
June.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. That's what
Yeah.
I like about doing the project. Just, I look at it as a year-long thing, and starting as early, because a lot of towns like Will, they're just getting started. We're already ahead of the game.
It's helped me for sure, being
Right.
a new commissioner, like coming in, not, it's
Not
really
just
helped
having
me.
new commissioners, that's important, right? So there's a lot of things we explore in this with you. Kind of get that budget process, but the bigger thing is, a lot of these towns would have a CIP, they would kind of know it, right? So they have that. We don't have that, the policy. Placement. Those are things we need to talk about. Right?
Yes, sir.
So those are things we need to be talking about, like we're talking about right now. We have an idea.
Right.
A lot of these towns will be have vision for the years, right? So there's a priority. They have to kind of know all these things we talk about, we need to get out. Everybody's sitting here to say, not individually, but collectively, direction. That's
And the good news is we're in pretty darn good shape fiscally.
That's enough. I probably should start. We're an excellent. We're really.
Except for this $3,000 in postage and printing here. But
Let it go, Dave. Let it
so
go.
I was an infantry officer, so I just
Jeez.
want to make sure that, are you telling me that the boat ramp payments are covered without a tax increase in the proposed, in what you're providing here?
That is not what I said.
Okay.
So, but I can talk about that. if you like.
I'd like you to talk about that
Yes,
because
let's
that's,
talk about that. So I talked with y'all individually before we prepared all of this, right? So with the boat ramp, we've got $118,000.
Right.
So we know that. That's a fixed cost. We know what that is. We've got $136,000. Right now, we're at $73,000. So that's yesterday. Good strong number there. So last year, we sold 199 first passes. So that's 59,000. That's should, it's a safe assumption. So passes this year. Last year. So we sold 70 to nearby towns. That's another $40,000. Safe to assume. I mean, we're very well on track.
Yeah, we're halfway there. We're over halfway there with the
Yeah,
residential.
so
Yep.
again, and I think I said, all of them said that, take my assumption. So I think it's a safe assumption. 14 to outside, right? So outside. Did all that, that's $112,000. looks like. Just to give you-
So we're anticipating coming in pretty close.
Yeah.
To what that,
Correct.
with that $3,000, we might make it.
Well, we'll hand deliver them instead of mailing them this year. That saves about $8.42.
No postage for you, chief.
Little by one street.
On street light. There we go. We're on the way, baby.
For the month.
All right.
So, so all that said, you know, it's the safe assumption that on basic pass, you get now favorite pass, why would you do that?
Unless you lived in Bogue.
Sure.
How many of those passes were sold to Bogue?
Well, and those are things we just can't,
That's
Yeah.
where,
Yeah,
that's where I'm at with it. I'm like, I don't know if I can
Yeah.
trust that
I mean,
number.
let me,
really.
well, let me get to my assumption.
Yes, sir.
I think-
Sorry.
no,
I
think- no,
interrupted
no, I
you.
think you'll agree.
Yes, sir.
I didn't say we're gonna sell 100 favorite passes to the folks that bought their favorite pass last year, but did not buy.
Yes, sir.
So we know that they sold right out. With all that said, it was 40 passes. I think that is a safe assumption. So, not 40. If we sell this 40 passes, that's $124,900. That assumption is where that was. But we know that it's going to cost us $136. But that assumption comes from that conservative number. We hope it's more than that. But again, everything Jeff and I do, don't get out here. I've never been trying to show you something. Y'all need to know where we are. Or we at least projected. And like ask you, I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. We'll look at it, see where we go, but I think that's kind of safe. That's how we can.
It's all crystal balling in some aspects, because you don't know, we don't have a clue.
It's all good.
Things are going to come up, but we're making a good swag at it.
It's our best guess.
Yeah,
It's what
yes, sir.
it is. It's our best guess.
Has the camo permit come in?
I think it's not tackle.
So paying the note, we should be okay, we think. But improving, we don't have the money to do that.
So you talk about
Lifts and slips and things.
Already under contract.
So that will come out of. And I would say just as general practice.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's not for operation.
Mhm.
Not for that.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I don't think the town should be sitting on $2 million in fund balance, just sitting on it, not executing anything. So, I mean, moving forward with spending that money to enhance the community as a whole, would be beneficial. So is this 77 that you were saying that 77% is paying that contract as well for the update, or is that going to take that hit?
I have already taken that consideration.
That's what I thought. I heard you say. Got it. That's perfect.
Right.
Good. Thank you. Because it's already, yeah.
It just doesn't matter.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we're taking that out, right?
Perfect.
We're not counting that.
I just didn't want to like be surprised. Well, we were at 77, then we had to pay that deal. And now we're at 60, 63 or, yeah.
The thing with the fund balance
That's
is there's,
exactly how-
thing with your fund balances is a certain percentage there the state likes to see you keep,
Yes, sir.
which is a percentage of your operating budget.
That's what I thought. It was like under 10.
And we're well over that, but you don't want to get in the habit of
Yeah.
attacking that every year.
Yep.
It's just that as a rule. You want to have everything sort of paid. Sometimes like, this year is one of those years where, well, we can ride it out and see what happens next year. And we've done that previously in the last 6 years. So far, we've not raised taxes.
Yeah.
It's all worked out. So, it just
So we
depends on
haven't
the,
spent a big nugget. though, either.
pessimists or optimists, glass
Yeah.
half full, glass half empty, or an engineer like me, and the glass is the wrong size.
Well, and again, that's why you saw your CIPs.
Yeah.
27, 28. Didn't start at.
Yep.
It didn't start at what we're looking at now. That
Right.
was very purposeful, very simple on our part to get that. you know, these three things are.
And that's why I did this comprehensive breakdown essentially of the whole budget. I thought, and I've got a lot more numbers here, but I don't think now's the time to bring all those numbers up. But
Why don't we use it?
okay,
That might be the best way.
no problem. That'd be great.
Because we want you to have information. That's the whole thing, is you guys need to know everything.
Yes, sir.
And it's all out here to be a town of our size. I mean, I used to have line items bigger than our entire budget. So, you know, it's, I know for everybody here, you've got different levels of budgeting and finance experience. So I think that the takeaway today is, hey, we're in very good shape. And it's just a matter of, you know, how we want to throttle.
I just want to make sure I'm asking questions.
Absolutely. And I want
I
you
don't
to
know
get your
the exact
answers. Sir.
questions to ask, so.
And we've done
Just
fairly
ask them all.
well.
There you go.
The town has done fairly well with no plan. Just kind of.
We've been very lucky.
Right, shiny object, go get that.
That is.
Well, we've been here again. It's been
Words.
a big transition for this town the last few years, because
Right.
we went
I
from
understand,
where
I understand.
this board made all the decisions.
Right.
And we
I'll go do this.
elevated ourselves to our level of incompetency buying 6 vehicles at the same time, not with any foresight.
And we're
So
still
now-
doing well.
So now we're a professional town because we have a professional manager and professional staff to take care of it. But they got to have the guidance to tell them how we want to spend it.
These
Have we
are
got enough
prioritized.
money? Do you want more?
By
I'm
FY
sorry.
these are all prioritized
As far as the CIP.
as far as public works. So
Yes.
you guys, your highest priorities are in 27, 28.
Yes.
You guys are 27, 28, your highest priority.
So we collectively sat down. and prioritized.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I just wanted to know.
I'll circle back to that and say it one more time. So this is not Gene's plan. This is me and Jeff and Brian right now. This is what we're doing. This is not what I'm thinking. I just happen to be the one thinking. This is collectively what we think the staff is reasonable, feasible, and what we need. We can add 2 dozen other line items against your capital, your figures.
Yeah.
So you want your pay
Mhm.
expenses that you captured your and issues.
Yeah, great. I mean, zero turn mower, I think that should be another one of those things that we have on the same way with the vehicles. You know, there's gonna be a certain amount of life you're getting out of these. We gotta have a replacement because we're enhancing our parks. We're actually bringing some parks here, so they're gonna need to be taken care of. So we need this equipment. So just that, I'll be looking at that as well, as like how are we going to do that? Do we have a plan? We buy this one, we know we're going to get
So I can tell you that plan, that's your staff job. That's my
Okay.
job, that's not a commissioner's job.
tracking.
So that's my job.
Yes,
right?
sir.
That's his job. That's what we do for a living,
Yep.
right? So Ryan and I talk about life cycle.
God.
Talk about hours. Brian and I talk about the life cycle.
Yep.
So now, we're gonna come to you with a recommendation of here's where we think we know these are life cycle. Brian and I looked at mowers, hours yesterday. Yeah, right, so.
Okay.
These
Yeah.
are the things we're planning for bringing these to you, right? So it's just like the vehicle stuff, so we change the way that we do maintenance. We're gonna change the way we do more of our vehicles. And that's here coming up, because we know that, again, we, not to get too deep into the weeds, but we know what's good for these vehicles. We know that generally you're gonna get more life out of this vehicle if you do this, and you're doing those things instead of just really not related, right?
Okay.
So we know that in maintaining those mowers like that, if they do these things, that mower should last longer, right? And so that life cycle is here. And so that's what we're telling you, so we're not coming out unbalanced. Now, the worst could happen.
Yeah.
You could have an engine blow up on any of these things today, and I could be back next month. My word said, hey, guys, I need a budget amendment to do this, but this is the reason why, but it won't be for lack of planning. It won't be for lack of us looking at the project. It could happen. Okay? I hope it doesn't. But it could happen today, but it's not for lack of planning. And so that's all we're trying to do, is put in front of you so we have a reasonable idea when these things are going to wear out and it's,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Right.
So right now, like the mayor said, we're in really good shape, right? This week. Done a good job, right? So y'all have done a good job. All these things, really good. But if we don't look at these things and know that these expenses are going to occur, we can't. We're literally going back to fund balance to buy something because we didn't know we needed it, now we know we need it. And this is the most transparent way, but for the public, commissioners, the staff, they're kind of.
But the best thing is you have, you know, you're going to move in this direction.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So a percentage of the, same way, a percentage of public work budget annually will go into this kitty, is the way I'm thinking,
Can't
right?
take that approach.
You know,
Yeah.
like this goes into this kitty, we know this needs to be replaced. We know that's gonna be expended, because I'm thinking the same way, right?
Yes,
Like,
sir.
we
Yeah.
gotta take that out.
Yes,
Or
sir.
we've got to put that over here,
My
'cause
ear.
this has to be replaced, or this has to be replaced, you know, life limited things.
How'd that happen?
That's, and I guess that's
Your brain
it
is
too in the
leaking,
weeds.
sir.
That'll be more of what you guys do. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. And like I said, if we get excess revenues in,
And great.
throw it in there.
You're
Yeah.
thinking,
You know, now we've got, you know, we extended that life cycle a little bit. We're not putting as much wear and tear on one. You've got two now, so yeah.
Those are the things that I'm coming back to you mid-year, revenues are strong. Hey, this is something we identified in today.
Yes, sir.
That's what we wanted to do. The revenues are a little better, y'all do a budget now. That's that instance.
Perfect.
And when you
Perfect.
purchase the vehicles for the police, what program do you go
Sheriff's
through?
Association is generally where I purchase.
Okay.
And their state contract too. You can
So,
look at that.
so Sheriff's Association typically beats state contract for the last 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah, so Sheriff's Association is better, we look at both of them. That's pretty bargain, right? So that is the best price here.
Fully loaded and everything correct.
So
We won't have to go back.
fully loaded may be
The
Something,
way I use fully loaded is it's ready for
so
operation.
no, they're not. They're not. So they have to give you, so there's the purchase price. of the vehicle.
Install.
Police vehicles, they go to the vendor, it gets upfit, but we know the upfit costs.
We-
We
yep.
know that if we're buying a police package vehicle, we're buying the correct vehicle instead of the lot. This, it's not ready for this upfit, which is what gets you in trouble, right? Because the electric's not up. It's not the right package.
So what's the estimated time, say, hey, we want this vehicle, and then
Depends.
deliver.
It depends, and that's a great question, right? So one of the things you see here is I'm not specified that we want a Chevrolet 1500 or we want a F-150. Typically, we check both prices, see what's selling, less that year. If we were doing our own fleet maintenance, so if we had a 150 vehicle shop, I can tell you, like, the conversation with y'all would be different. I would be buying F-150s or 1500s, and we would buy all 1500s because I would stock parts.
Right.
So I would have parts that commonly wear out. I'd have them on the shelf, so.
Tires,
Right, tires, same.
yeah.
Maintenance. Being small, we don't have to do that. We're not stocking any parts. We're relying on third-party vendors to make these repairs. So that would be the big difference. One of the things that we looked at, just for efficiency, and we probably won't do this way, but we're feeling really strongly about it, like internally, is oil changes. So Ryan and them can do oil changes, right? So I don't know if we're doing heavy duty mechanic work, but they can change the oil in our vehicles. We're looking at cost savings now. What do we save? So what does it cost for our staff time to do this versus somebody else's staff time to do this? There are legalities in,
Okay.
well, there's legalities in entire rotation. We don't want to hurt. We don't want to hurt.
Does that affect the warranties or anything?
No. But all the same, oil change, and the big thing with it is not just the cost savings. So we all know that you're not saving, right, by the pennies count. We're not saving a lot by changing the oil. What we are saving is that officer that's on duty having to take that car, go up there, sit, wait on the oil change, drive back. So that's, that could be 2 to 3 hours, but we're paying that officer to sit there while the oil change, or come in and get the car, the transit time and all that. If Ryan can come over here and grab that call, and he's off duty, take it to the shop, change the oil, and sitting here ready to go, that's a savings. So that's a savings on time, that's a savings. So that's something that we're determining, like this last week, we talked about initially, this or that. Right, so again, that's a staff management thing. Save cost, time, efficiency.
So what was the estimated time? If I didn't, like, start to finish, if we purchased the vehicle? We'd like purchase it and then get it outfitted.
Yeah, so typically, and I went around my whole way.
They like the fire department. It
Yeah,
takes
well,
like
yeah,
4 years.
4 years to get a truck, yeah.
Right,
If it wasn't purpose, not answering.
Okay.
Typically, when we get on vehicle,
Uh-huh.
that spec, right?
Okay.
120 days, we can get the vehicle. We were 2 years ago, that was not the case. Like, I was literally on vehicles now. I know that we need them 6 months from now because of the lead time is so.
Okay.
But lead time is. Fire trucks.
Yeah, that's totally different though. Those things are
Okay.
so unique, but yeah, it was an eye opener for me too when we ordered it. And it's like, well, we'll see you in 3 years. I'm like, what? Yeah. Sam was saying. How are we doing on the communications part of it? Okay. Okay.
My car will probably be last.
Okay.
But yeah, the radios are lost.
Great.
There's no communication there.
Thank the Lord.
Glad to hear that.
Good, yes, heck yeah.
Sweet.
Hey, good job on that. So, sorry, go ahead. So the budget, you said fully staffed for police, does that include the conversations we had on having a lead officer?
So this does include money to have, yes, a supervisor.
That's for that, okay.
Yes, it does.
So that's this budget right now?
Yeah.
All paid?
Right there,
Whew.
yes.
All right, all right.
Well, did we have to do extra training for the dog issue? I remember us having some type of conversation.
So no.
Okay.
No.
That's more of a policy type thing. Right?
Okay.
So here's the. Video training.
Okay.
Now, and the county statutory has certain obligations. So they don't do anything like that.
Okay.
But one of the things is you've got new officers. They don't answer. One of the challenges to staff is educating your staff. One of the things we do very well is educating staff. Wow. Not just that's very, not just fine, but so the citizen gets the right answer the first time. Which leads to what you were talking about, to, I guess, part of it. But one of the things we found, I don't deal with a lot of people. It's just not something that those things like, well, for a long time. And so what we've done is kind of retrain the staff, training the staff. A lot of these things are right? So you don't think about it a lot. That's just what we're talking about.
But you don't have to take like a special class and get certified and all that. It's just
It's
policy.
enforcing our.
Okay, okay, I got you.
Probably give more wildlife.
Okay.
Do
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. I didn't know if there had been anything.
So as far as the training program for new officers, do we have a program? Or,
Program.
yes, that's,
And it's 3
thank you.
months long.
Okay,
So it's 3 months shadow if they come from BOC. They come and they have experience,
Mhm.
they have to go minimum 30 days in the office. takes a lot to train.
No, I totally understand. Do they go through a board after this training, or is it kind of like you take the sergeant and you take the lead officers, you meet with them and, hey, how did they do? Do you recommend? And then,
Emergency supervisor's position is going to be some of the law enforcement experience they got too much training. I will talk with that. We'll have like for the last supervisor, I have a training process that two parts where we're going to do everything those
oh, perfect.
20 different scenarios, might encounter here, and how would you respond to those? And then they have to do a write-up for me and come through each little scenario, how would we respond?
Perfect. That's really good to hear because, there's citizens out there just worried about the training of officers, right?
There's a minimum standard.
So this is, you brought up a good point. I won't belabor this. You know, this, right?
Mhm.
But the other thing that our eyes on session, a lot of it was talking about a lot. Not just this. Also including some of the staff members, like issues you talk about. Session plan, that's all it is. You've got somebody.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right.
Mhm.
Right, but somebody, wow. The bad safety.
Yep.
That's all.
Thank you for that, because I'm extremely pleased as a citizen and now as a commissioner, knowing a little bit more of the uh, the goings on. Like our staff is phenomenal, and being able to keep them here would be great. We don't want to lose what's working so well because the history, right? I mean, you just, hey, why did you guys do this? Why'd you build this park here rather than over here? Well, we did it because of this, and this made sense, or so on and so forth. Just knowing the history.
Well, I would echo what you say, you have absolutely. Public service. Paramount for everybody. So this was- You can sit there. And I'm halfway joking, but I'm not joking, right? So just the interaction that you get. That's there. Really, really.
I did get a call about one of your officers the other day. A good call, a great call, actually. It was a great call explaining how there was an incident at the school and this officer helped him out tremendously and wanted to make sure that he called and told me. So I want to pass that on. But the officers, I mean, not that public works isn't hard or here in the office, but the officers, I could see you guys, see people at their lowest sometimes and still maintaining that relationship with the community, a positive relationship is a little tough. So keep doing the good work.
So, next is budget calendar direction for staff. I feel like we got pretty good direction out of today. I know we got a lot of questions. Unless y'all think we need another meeting. Glad to do that if y'all want to do that. I can come up with a budget or I can put this together. I can get back to you. I feel like I have information. I'll bring it back to you in May.
for that date. We shall have a budget by then. But I can bring up last year we adopted in May. In addition to adopt a budget in May. For a strong statement. But it's truly your pleasure.
Can we see something mid-April? Just some figures so we can go, ooh, I don't like, so we're walking in May, feeling pretty.
I would say, we can adjust some of this stuff. What we see is going to hardly take the same form with some adjustments. I like this form. I think it's pretty interesting. I think everybody is. I think it's right. We can do that for sure.
We still got plenty of time. I'll make a suggestion, just wait and see what happens, and we have our meeting in April. And then if we feel like we need to have a meeting before May, we can schedule something.
Okay. Or just a package,
Yeah, and get the info.
So, and that may be even, and I like, we, it's incumbent that we hope. This is very important process, right? And it may be that I call and say, hey, this is where we are, send this information out, this is where we are. We just see all of our comfort level with that. Like the mayor mentioned, our comfort level. I don't have a preference. It just depends on everybody's
Right.
comfort level.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about the sponsorship once you talk to everyone. And maybe see that worked in, if it's good to go or not, depending on where that lies. But I really think that's a good avenue to
We'll spend some
keep
time.
pushing. Okay, great. Let me know if you need anything at all. I'll make myself available at any time.
Y'all have any other questions for us?
$3,000 with.
Yeah, just remember, he's the one with the calculator, so just watch him.
Well, if everybody's good, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, who wants to second that? All in favor, all three of us. There you go. And thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Extremely unrealistic to budget only $8 and something for the budget. My bill for the last 2 months was $48 one month and $49 for the next, not $8.
It was just that was a question I asked off the cuff without preparing anybody for it. So I don't want to